Do it.
Yay!
Go live.
We're live.
All right.
It says we're 4 seconds in, 6 seconds in, something like that. So always the awkward moment right before you go on air. Yeah, and I see it to my left now over here. If you can see it in my glasses, maybe this side.
What? I don't
All
see.
right. This is episode number 4, I believe, already of my 8 and 8 series. 8 questions for another reseller. Usually we divide it up 4 questions reselling and 4 questions non-reselling. And I'd like to welcome this week's guest, Chuck from Backroad Bidder. Chuck,
Hi.
say hello. Hi, how are you? What you want to say?
Hi, everyone.
There you go.
Subscribe
Chuck's
to me.
back itches, apparently. I'll give a play-by-play here. He's going with the left hand and the thumb scratch maneuver.
Sorry, I'll nape if I have an itch.
Right. Yeah. So before we get into everything, how's everything up there? I know, even though it's like spring, and there, even as far south as Arkansas, I saw where people have had snow. So I think there's a little bit more snow going through the Midwest.
Yeah, but it missed us.
Did it? Okay.
I see it in Illinois and Ohio and everything, and I'm like, I don't know how we missed it, but it's been colder here. But we didn't get that last bout of snow.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, so we'll get into it. I'll give a little disclaimer. Each week, my guests that I have on, I do give them a list of questions to choose from. That way, we just kind of keep it flowing. This is more of like a talk show format, and I do have the ticker going across on the bottom that kind of explains that we can see the chat, but we may not always be active in chat. I do see Travis from Bartomania is here. Thank you, Travis. A lot of this is caught on replay, and we do thank you for catching it on replay. If you are catching it on replay, please hit the thumbs up. If you're not subbed to Chuck over here, sub to him. If you're not subbed to me and you're just watching this live or on the replay, consider subscribing to me as well. So with that said, we'll get started right into the hard-hitting questions about your reselling business, Mr. Chuck.
I feel like I should have worn
yeah, get it buttoned up tight. No, you might want to loosen it. Might want to loosen it a little bit. There you go. Hi, Marvin the Martian. All right.
Hustling shirt.
There you go. And now my phone goes off. Awesome. I will say, call you back later. There you go. All right. So I've seen you on several other chats. We kind of got to know each other by seeing each other on other chats and other videos. I've watched some of your back videos. Obviously, you've seen some of mine. Everything that I can tell, you kind of started off in auctions. You've mentioned many times that you really enjoy auctions. Is that your main sourcing method? Is it still your favorite, or is there another source you prefer? And since I did watch some of your earlier videos today, what is the proper pronunciation of auction?
It's auction. I don't even understand that conversation when I have it with Marcy.
It kind of baffled me because y'all both say oat and a boat. So why is auction, action, auction?
We're this far removed from being Canadian, you know?
Right. So Southern Canadians.
It's auction. I don't know. But yeah, auctions are my love, my life. And I've learned this winter because I've learned a lot more things to source for. So I thought, okay, I'm ready for, Facebook Marketplace to source and for thrift stores and all these other things. And I go into these places and sometimes I get lucky, but for the most part, I'm just still not, I don't know if I'm not that good at it or I'm just not used to looking for the things that they provide. So I am very thankful that auctions are starting up again. I've been to one so far this season and it's been awesome.
Yep.
I've been to some garage sales and I find things here and there, but an auction, you go with a little bit of money and you can fill your car, and I just love it. It's cheap. And
see, that kind of surprised me watching some of your back videos. And again, I know you have an auction background, how cheap some of those lots were going for compared to, like, saying finding a little plastic truck at a garage sale where it might be $1. Well, you got that in a flat box with 10 other toys for $1.
Yeah, it's amazing sometimes.
Yeah, that's cool. And I've always kind of been intimidated by auctions. And before we came on air, Chuck and I were kind of discussing the rural life. I used to go to livestock auctions with my grandfather. And, the one thing he always said was like, keep your hands down. Don't make any head movements, nothing, just watch. He said, I'll get us some calves, So that, as a 6, 7, 8-year-old, I just sat there but at a live auction, when you're like that, just standing about in a field with all the flats out there and your merchandise, you got to make yourself known. And you've mentioned several times you wear a different colored hat or an odd colored shirt.
Yep.
Which you're kind of a big fella anyway with your stats and all that you boast about on your show. So I guess it just takes it's well to be seen, or it's good to be seen.
It's good to be seen and heard, if you have to.
Yeah.
And
different than livestock auctions.
Yeah. And I would position myself too, so I'm kind of in front of the auctioneer. So
now, besides auctions, and I know we're limited to 8 questions, but I'm going to expand on all the questions because it's my show.
You're the boss.
Besides auctions, what would be your second favorite? And see, like for me, coming around this time again to garage sale season, which we're kind of non-stop on garage sale season, but I'm a lot more aware going around this time of year than I was last year. Of course, we had the COVID shutdown and all that. But what's your second source or favorite source of sourcing?
Definitely garage sales, just because you can find the cheapest deals. And if you find a real garage sale,
it's not a museum.
Yeah, it's not a museum, and it's not just another reseller trying to flip stuff. You can find some great deals.
Yeah. No, I found that, and I haven't really looked in my area, but I will. I'll see if there's some auctions like that. I haven't really never. See, I'm so good at just redundant sentences. I've never looked for local auctions, which I'm sure there are some, because just 15 miles north of me, you start to get into a little more rural area. So maybe I can find something. Good to know. So, okay, again, as we mentioned, if nobody knows or somebody's watching and doesn't know where Chuck is from, he's from Wisconsin, so it gets a little cold there in the wintertime. Now that we're getting into spring and it is thawing and it's a little warmer, there are a lot of new resellers that have come around this last year or so, and probably even after the first of the year. What would you tell somebody that lives in a colder climate to do as a reseller to get prepared for those winter months when you can't get out and source as much?
Yeah, and that's something I'm still learning, like kind of what I was saying. It's like, be flexible, be open to trying new things, be open to even dumpster diving, watching your neighbor's garbage. But
that's true.
Just learn new things. And like if you go into the thrift stores and they have certain items all the time, but it's not stuff you usually buy, well, you better learn that stuff, I guess. Look those up. Be flexible and check out Facebook. Oh, online auctions too. I've fallen in love with HiBid a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that from other resellers. I haven't got into it yet myself, but
I enjoy that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, when COVID first hit, I had just kind of come back around into the YouTube thing, and I'd actually deleted my YouTube channel about March last year. But I was watching the Nurse Flipper, Kat, and she had mentioned something about getting on shopgoodwill.com, which Goodwill, for those of you that don't know and are not in an area that has a Goodwill, they have a 24/7 online auction site. And it does take like a week or 10 days sometimes to get your stuff, but you can find some pretty good lots there, as far as a nationwide online auction service.
I haven't tried the Goodwill one yet.
It comes from various Goodwills, so you may be ordering from different parts of the country, but it's on their main site. So that's a good idea. You got to get prepared. You have to source when you can, stockpile. As you see, Chuck and I both have sheets, so we have stockpiles behind us that we're ashamed to admit. But it's always good to have a pile whenever the weather's bad or you're in the house for a few days and can't get out.
Or to have a wife that knows what she's doing too.
There you go. My wife's good on the retail end. Like she saves us money at the retail outlets, with clothes and other stuff like that. As far as thrifting, then that's me with the thrifting and reselling. She saves us for the stuff that we actually keep. But one day we'll get her on the video here. She does exist. It's not just an imaginary wife. I have a real wife.
Sure. It's probably going to be a puppet, isn't it?
All right, this question comes up pretty much every week, and it was one that you chose. What's your long-term goal with reselling? I know you and Marcy both have been into reselling for quite a while. You have Antique Booth, you have your eBay. I don't know if you're on any other platforms, maybe Facebook Marketplace or something like that, or you said
Mercari.
I did.
Mercari is the only other one that I.
Mercari, okay.
And Marcy just set up a Poshmark account, but we haven't used it
Okay.
yet.
Where do you see yourself in the interview question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years with your reselling?
Ironically, 5 years is when I'm first eligible to retire from my job.
Okay.
And that is my goal with reselling, is to put myself in a position where I can take advantage of that, so that I quit my regular job in 5 years and be okay. So to, build up my wealth as much as I can, and, still have the side business going. I'd like to have, I think it might require getting some kind of a warehouse or some kind of a storage space to get there, but I don't know, we'll see. But that is my goal, is to, at 55, I'd like to be able to quit my other job. And
Jesus, man, I'm 56, so I should have quit a year ago.
You should have. Fail. No, kidding.
No chance. Look me up when I'm 80. I'll still be here doing YouTube videos and reselling and working a full-time job.
Well, it might just be a fantasy, I'm not. I don't know. I look at my retirement papers and I'm like, I don't know. I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming a little bit, but it's nice to know that I have the option of dropping out of there for 5 years.
True. Yeah, and when I first got into it, it was all just gung-ho, pipe dreams. I watched some big-time resellers that sold the dream, and I realized quickly that it was not the dream. But once I kind of realized that a couple months in, I was very, capable of settling in, going on weekends, buying a few things, reselling here and there. I'm not trying to make it my main source of income. It is a very fun hobby. It is a very profitable hobby. It can be. And it's a very educational hobby, because you can learn something not only by going out yourself, but also by watching these other resellers online. So, all right. One more question on the reseller side. I tend to ramble, and I apologize. What is the most memorable thing that you've sourced or that you've sold since you've been a reseller? It could be something interesting, odd, strange, unique, or your biggest profitable item. And you don't necessarily have to give away the amount, just so that people don't get pipe dreams about becoming a reseller if they're not a reseller watching us already.
Well, my story is about an item I recently sourced.
I'll be right back.
I've been wanting to tell this story, and I saved it for your show.
Awesome.
It was a high bid auction. There was one lot that nobody was bidding on, because it was mainly a bunch of VHS tapes. But there was one Nintendo game in there. It was Paperboy 2 for the original NES, which is worth a few bucks. It's not.
I know that one, yeah.
But so I got that lot for, I think, $1. I don't think anyone else bid. So I got Paperboy 2 for $1 and stacks of VHS tapes. Well, most of the VHS tapes were, pre-made ones with movies on them. There was one blank tape that I told my son, hey, throw that in a VCR, let's see what's on it. And my son will be in therapy the rest of his life.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, this was a homemade romance movie.
Oh, Brown Chicken, Brown Cow?
Yes.
Brown Chicken, Brown Cow.
Homemade one, probably from the late 80s, early 90s. You could tell by the hairstyles. And yeah. So that was interesting. It's funny because we always joked about it. And with that tape, as I handed it to him, I thought, wouldn't that be funny if it was somebody's,
Yep.
romantic.
And as I said, I'm a few years older than you, and I actually worked at a record store out of high school. And it was just that part of the era when VHS and Betamax and all that was coming out. Betamax, do you hear that very much anymore? No. People still find VHS, but you don't find any betas anymore.
Do not.
But we opened up a little video rental section as well. And sometimes if the person didn't check the return, there was a tape in there with something similar to what you described, rather than being, Tron or whatever it was supposed to be.
Tron.
It was, too much flesh. And that's all we have to say about that. So,
It's awesome.
okay, cool. You made it to the reseller portion of the questions. Now it's the deep diving, intimate questions about Chuck, how to get to know Chuck. Who is the man behind the flannel?
You're going to make me cry. Give me like Barbara Walters and bring up.
Is Marcy there? I mean, do you have some Kleenex close by?
I do. I get it.
All right. People our age, and again, I'm kind of including me in your young age, but people our age, we kind of grew up with cable and all that other stuff, and the VHS, like we talked about, stuff you would just wear out watching over and over and over. What's your favorite movie that you can basically quote line by line and annoy everybody in the room around you?
Well, my new favorite movie is this VHS that I found a couple. Oh wait,
Not a lot of dialogue. A lot of grunts.
Now, but you added the part of the question about annoying people, and that's funny. Okay, the movie I chose to tell you, because I'm kind of a movie junkie. I love movies of all genres, and the one I chose to tell you about was Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh.
I've probably seen it 24 times at least. Yep. I know so much about it, and it still amazes me every once in a while. I'll be watching it, and I'll see something in the background that I missed before, and I'm like, holy crap, was that happening every time I watched this?
The cat?
Yeah, beating the cat. It's like,
I am a Monty Python aficionado. They used to be on PBS, if you have a PBS station up there, but yeah, midnight, Saturday night.
Yes.
Mom and Dad were in bed. I was 12, 13, and Monty Python would come on the PBS station after Saturday Night Live.
They were just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I loved them. Cracked me. So, yeah. Now, when you talk about quoting it to annoy people, Rain Man, which is another one of my favorite movies, but I quote that way too often, and probably Forrest Gump too.
Yeah.
But
no, that's one that always stops here. Like whenever we're flipping through the channels, if it's Forrest Gump, it stops. If it's Caddyshack, Blues Brothers, whatever. I mean, just
all great ones.
What's neat about the Monty Python thing is that my son, he's a senior in high school, and each year they have their mascot is the Cavaliers. Each year they have what's called Mr. Cavalier or Miss Cavalier. And what they have to do is put on a little skit. I mean, there's a certain number of kids that are nominated for it. And one of his band friends was nominated for it. And the skit they chose to do was from Monty Python, where King Arthur comes upon the peasants.
Yes.
It's like, old man or old woman. It's like, I'm a man.
I'm a man.
They did that entire scene for their Mr. Cavalier competition. Of course, his friend didn't win because not many 17 and 18-year-olds know about Monty Python, but all of them did. His friend that was going for it was actually from Scotland, so he's Scottish and kind of knew the English humor.
Can you see
the Monty Python skit?
Can you see the oppression inherent in
the oppression of the system? Right. Yeah. King, I didn't vote for you.
Yes. You don't vote for a kid.
So we've lost so many people at this point.
Some watery tart dispensing swords.
Throwing a scimitar at you from a pond.
Let's end it. Let's just have
right. So, all right, let's get into your state. You have, I did verify before the interview that you have lived there for quite a while in the area known as Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I know I'm saying that wrong because I'm from Texas.
That's all right.
Wisconsin is known for its dairy, for its cheese, beer. It's known for the Brewers, for the Packers. A lot of history in that state. What is your favorite cheese? And if you do drink, what is your favorite beer?
Favorite cheese is cheddar, even though that wasn't invented in Wisconsin. I love cheddar cheese.
Wisconsin cheddar is good. We get that down here.
I can put it on just about anything. Up here, we put it on apple pie. Did you know that?
A slice of cheese on a piece of apple pie. Yeah.
Yep, that's a big deal.
That's an old diner method or diner trick. There's a certain term for it, but I forget it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But so you do that in Texas too?
I've seen it. No, and I've traveled the country, and I've been in all 48 states, and I've been to 7 Canadian provinces. Truck driving days. So yeah, I've seen a little bit of this and that. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
Cool. But yeah, I love cheddar cheese. Beer, you mentioned it in your last video, and you said it right, and I was so amazed because I don't know how well known this beer is, but Leinenkugel's.
Leinenkugel, yeah.
I love Leinenkugel's. I love their original beer, and I love their creamy dark.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
Yeah,
my favorite.
my brother is a fan. He's like the summer shandy fan. I guess it's kind of a lemony grapefruit kind of taste or something to it. I am a beer aficionado. I was in the beer business for 11 years. I brew my own beer occasionally.
That's cool.
Since 90. I don't really care for wheat beers too much, and I think that shandy kind of leans towards the wheat beer category because they add fruit to it.
Mm-hmm.
A wheat base takes fruit a little better than a barley base does. But that being said, if it's cold and it's in front of me, I just might drink it.
Oh yeah, I'm not real picky about beer. You said
if it's free, if it's cold and it's free, it's for me, and I'll take 3.
It's going down. I agree. Dang, write that down.
Yeah. Yeah, and what Chuck did refer to, he was trying to promote my channel, is that I just had a haul video this week, and I found a Leinenkugel hat.
Yeah.
So I haven't listed it yet, so hit me up, IG.
All right. Cool.
All right. Another question that I've sent out to all my interviewees thus far is, do you have a hidden talent? For example, juggling, crossing your eyes, wiggling your ears, being able to flare your nostrils, something you can do ambidextrously, left hand, right hand. That's a multisyllabic word. And multisyllabic is also a multisyllabic word.
Whoa.
Are you able to solve math problems instantly, like Good Will Hunting, anything like that?
My dad can multiply 3-digit numbers, 2 3-digit numbers together in his head. Almost.
And you guys sit there with a calculator and, yep, you're right, Dad.
Yeah. We used to do that. He's a wacko. I can juggle a little bit, and I've dabbled with magic tricks, little sleight of hand. But here's the only real talent I have.
Oh. Left and right. Oh, so
Right.
If it's ears, it's not ambidextrous because like dexterity is your hands. So what would you call it? Ears?
Ambidextrous. I don't know.
What do you call it?
Lobius.
We're getting above our pay grade now. That's scientific. Somebody in the chat's going nuts, and thank you so much. I see everything scrolling up, and again, if you see the ticker going across the bottom, we're not always able to get into the chat because it's just kind of a quick talk show format interview. But we appreciate you being here, and I do see all y'all kind of going back and forth, and a lot of the regulars that we normally see, and even some newbies are there. We appreciate that.
Yes.
With that being said, we're going to get to this last question, and I may have an extra question for you afterwards. But,
dang it. I'm not prepared.
Another one is that a lot of people have answered thus far. What's your favorite genre of music? I mean, is there just something like if you're driving in the car and you got to switch stations 15 times to find a song you like, you find it comes on, and you're just singing along at the top of your lungs, no matter who's around?
I never find the genre of music I like. I like the blues, and nobody plays the blues.
Sirius XM.
I really like, that's what I would have to do. That's what I would do. iHeartRadio, I get the blues station on there. They get a Simply Blues channel, and that's what I like. I like, and the simpler the better. 3 chords.
Yep.
Some guy moaning in the background, and I love it.
That's how I got my son to start playing guitar. I said, look, it looks intimidating, and it's like Sunday. For some reason, Sunday's always been my blues day. When I used to travel over the road, or even when I was driving locally, I would have to work on Sundays a lot. And there's a local station that would play blues on Sunday. Cool. So I would just listen to that all day. And I mean, you can hear anything and everything. And if you think you know everything about music, you would hear a song from the 20s and 30s like, wait a minute, somebody in the 70s and the 80s just remade that song.
Yes.
And I thought it was theirs.
Yeah.
No, it was a blues song from the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And that's how Elvis basically started his career, was singing blues songs that he, vamped up to rock and roll out of the 30s and 40s and 50s.
That's what Led Zeppelin and the Stones did.
Yep.
Too. They're all blues songs.
Yeah. You ask every lead guitarist of those bands from the 70s, the stadium rock bands, and they were like, I would love to play, with John Hooker or Albert King or whomever.
Muddy
Somebody
Waters.
they just idolized growing up. Being in Texas, which, I thought it was just kind of a Texas thing, but he was national and international, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yep.
But he always tributes his stuff to Albert King, B.B. King, several of the other predecessors before him. And he could play just, blindfolded, note for note.
Didn't he die in Wisconsin?
What's that?
Was he the one that died in Wisconsin?
With the helicopter, yeah. The helicopter crash.
I think that was in Wisconsin.
August of 1990, I believe.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
I had nothing to do with it.
So we should write a blues song about that because that just made me sad.
I'm sorry.
You brought that up.
Hugs.
Well, cool. All right. Yeah. Blues is a good thing. And like I said, I told my son about it. He plays the bass now. He plays guitar. He plays ukulele. He's been playing the tuba since 5th grade. So he's got that bass beat thing down, that 3-chord harmony, and he knows what to do with that stuff. All right. So last week, my guest was Dan, Art Vandelay. And you and I are both of the school of the outtakes that Dan has at the end of his videos, where I just jumped on it. You jumped on it. There's been a few others. Was it something that you were comfortable doing? Are you like, I'm self-deprecating regardless, and I have a sarcastic sense of humor. So, if I flub up, and as long as it's not profane, yeah, I'll throw it on the end of a video just to say, hey, look at me, I'm stupid.
I guess that's kind of why I did it, was because, I don't know, just to show that, I realize I'm not great at this.
It's funny.
Let's just laugh at it,
Yeah. I mean, we're all amateurs at this. I mean, there's some people that have great production value. My great production value is a $6 lamp shining on the wall right here to give me a little bit of a light, and then my I think it's about a $7 or $8 king size maroon sheet behind me. And I wore maroon today, so I kind of blend in with the sheet.
Nice. It looks classy.
Yeah. So we're all amateurs at this, and we're going to make mistakes. And, it's funny. I mean, growing up as a kid of the 70s and 80s, watching Smokey and the Bandit or Cannonball Run and stuff like that, the old Burt Reynolds movies where at the end they would do, just him and, what's his name? Dom
DeLuise. Yep.
Yeah, just going through the outtakes left and right, or even some of the ones that had like Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. And it's funny. I mean, you and even now to this day, if I go to the theater and watch a movie, which of course that's kind of been banned the last year or so, but I'll sit and watch the entire credits and everything because they might throw some kind of bloopers in there. Even if you're there for a dramatic movie, there's still every once in a while they'll throw some bloopers on there. So.
Remember back in the 80s too, Dick Clark used to have that bloopers show.
Yeah.
They show bloopers from movies and stuff.
And now everybody has a bloopers internet video show, whether it's on the internet or on MTV, which MTV, for those of you that don't know, used to show music videos. What? Now it's basically about catfishing and internet fails, and they need to change the name of the station. Yeah. So very cool, Chuck. As always, at the end of each 8 at 8 interview, I give the guest a opportunity to see. There's a blooper right there. An opportunity to promote what they have coming up. So I know you guys do a show on Thursdays. You're more than welcome to promote that and anything else you may have coming up in the near future.
Well, let's see. Yeah, tomorrow night we have Amber from Outcountry Sales. I see she's in the chat. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Amber. Thanks. Yeah.
She's going to be on the Beardo Show on my channel tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. That should be a lot of fun. Get to know her a little bit better. And I am going to release a video this week. I usually do it on Wednesdays. It's not completed yet. But other than that, I don't have any big news. Nothing else interesting. Marcy's still releasing videos regularly. Please check her out, too. That's my wife. Frugal Peanut.
Her channel is
The Frugal Peanut Reseller.
There you go.
And she's actually a much better reseller than I am.
Okay, and just as a long tease item, Marcy just maybe a guest in some weeks forthcoming. So then we'll get the real deal on Chuck.
No, you can't ask her about me.
Now we'll leave it to the reseller. If that's all you have, if you have anything else.
I don't. Thanks for everyone to show up. Thanks to everyone for showing up, Blooper.
Right.
Thank you, Keith, too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being on. I try to give a little bit of notice to everybody just so we can kind of prepare for it and make this smooth and seamless, even though we're just a few idiots anyway. So,
yeah.
What I have coming up is I'll go ahead and give the next guest for the 8 at 8, and it's actually going to interfere with your show just a tad next week. I have Reselling Mary Ellen. If you have not checked out her channel, please check out her channel. She's very knowledgeable on fashion. She used to be in the fashion industry. I don't know that she resells full-time. I will check that out a little bit more and get a little more detail on her. But I've seen her on other shows. I know you've been on with Derek, Fundamentals of Side Hustling, I think is his show, which I'm subscribed to him as well. And I believe she was on one of his panel shows one time. That's how I saw her initially. And I started following her. And she was one of the first ones that I reached out to when I first started this show. And it's just been kind of a process to include everybody as the weeks go on. I may have to start doing 2 a week or pre-recording some of these so I can fit everybody in, because I have a long list of guests that I'd like to have. But next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, because she's in Eastern time zone. So it'll be 7 p.m. Central. I'll have Reselling Mary Ellen, or Mary Ellen Reselling. It's Reselling with Mary Ellen, I think. Is her channel?
Reselling Mary Ellen.
Reselling Mary Ellen. Yeah, and she's in Jersey, New Jersey, I believe. So other than that, I have a weekly show with Danny from Pickle Resellers. He was in here earlier. I don't know if he's in and out, but 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. This week it'll be on my channel. We have a Resellers Goals show where we discuss our previous week's goals, if we met them, exceeded them, where we failed, which is usually the case, and what we plan to do to rectify that in the coming week. And then we also are able to join in chat at that time, because it's not just an interview show. It is an actual show where we want to include other resellers. That's about it. I may have a What Sold video at the end of this week. I need to list, as mostly all of us do. Yeah. It'll sell itself. If I put it in a tub in an area adjacent to where I sit, maybe it'll sell itself.
It could happen.
Somebody could see it.
One of my biggest fears has kind of been my neighbors finding my channel. And my neighbor found my channel.
Same.
He saw those Maisto airplanes that I had, or Maisto.
Yeah.
He wanted them. And so he bought, not all of them, but he bought a couple of them from me. I delivered them tonight. He paid me cash.
I know what you paid for them.
What?
I know what you paid for them. I'm not going to give you no more than $1.
No, he didn't pull that on me.
That's good. No, and I've had a couple of Instagram sales. I haven't had any YouTube sales, but that may be forthcoming. Who knows? God, I'm such an idiot. I want to say, if you're not subscribed to Chuck, please subscribe to Chuck. If you're not subscribed to me, please subscribe to me. You don't have to necessarily watch our content, but by subscribing to other resellers, you will get other reseller content in your feed, and you might just find somebody you like. I mean, it's kind of been that process of elimination with me. I'm sure it's been the same with you. I know you're a Froggy Flips fan. I'm a Froggy Flips fan. There's several others that are big name. There's some that are kind of in the medium range, where they got 500 to 1,000 subs, whatnot. There's some of us low lives that only have like 186. You're coming up on 400, so that's a big thing.
Someday. It seems like I've been stagnant for a while, but.
And then you'll go back down to 387 or wherever you're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back for like the last 6 months.
That sucks.
So, but with that, we'll go ahead and end it. This is a quick interview show, and I'd like to kind of keep it like that. I do appreciate you, Chuck, for being on.
Thank you very much.
It's been a fun night, and I'm so glad that you joined us, and we got to learn a little bit about Chuck the reseller and Chuck the person. Who knew?
Monkey, the big ape.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week. If you liked this 8 at 8 series, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I put another one of these interview type videos out. and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. I will say goodbye. Chuck, I'll leave you the last word.
Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
That's it.